The biggest challenge that I see with tax professionals today is having that difficult conversation about charging more to their clients for advisory. You see, for years, you've probably given away free advice like I did to my clients. And now when you try to charge for it, they say things like, "Isn't this something you're already doing for me?" You have to justify what you're doing, and that is not easy to do. Now, what I'm going to teach you here today is how to overcome this and how you can articulate what you're about to help that client through so that they say yes to the increase in fee, but more importantly, they say yes to you as the person they need in their corner. Now, my name's David. I've been in the industry 18 years. The first 12 of my years I spent working just on tax prep. And in my career, I've generated over 7 figures each and every year in tax prep, as well as made an 8-figure advisory practice on top of that tax prep business. And in the last 36 months, I've helped over 1,200 tax firm owners add advisory to their business by talking to their existing clients and helping those clients identify over $1 billion in saving while generating millions of dollars in revenues for these firms. I'm going to share with you here today how to overcome this roadblock. Let's jump right in. First things first, you have to understand that these people have every right to say this, that isn't this what you're supposed to do? And it's your fault. It's my fault. We were giving away advice for free forever. And that's a problem because giving away advice for us it just comes so natural. You're an expert, I'm an expert. So what we do is we like to showcase our expertise. So when somebody asks us a tax question, we're like, here's what you do, here's how you do it. And we go into long conversations that are probably unwarranted, but feel natural to us. When we realize that, we're like, crap, I want to charge you. And then we have to prove our value. And then most of the time we're not going to get paid because the client just decides not to do it because we talked them out of it. Or they decide to go do it on themselves or figure it out on their own because that's who they are, or, just things happen. And so you try to fight this battle, but you want to charge more, right? So here's the first thing you need to understand is that you need to know what you've been doing for free for years. Like you have to be real here, right? The first thing you need to do is admit that you have a problem. Now, admitting that you have a problem is important because once you understand that, you can admit to what problems you have and you can say things like, well, for years, I've been answering phone calls I shouldn't answer. I've been taking messages at times that I probably should be with my family. I've been responding to notices that not even are related to the things that I've done. I've helped them plan for things that I'm not even involved in. I've helped them start or initiate businesses that never even worked out, but I wasted my time doing. And I have done this willingly. Now, admit it. Because here's what needs to happen. When you talk to your clients, you have to be prepared with that list because almost every single one of those interactions and those things that you did were in a responsive mode. They're typically responsive to the things that they're asking, meaning these are not proactive, these are reactive statements. So a client calls you with a problem versus you helping them identify problems to come. And once you understand that shift, then when you present the opportunity to work on advisory and there is an additional fee, you can say things like, well, yes, we have done things like this before, but here's when they happened. They occurred when you brought them to my attention. They occurred too late in the year. They occurred when we weren't prepared to do them because you weren't prepared to move. Wouldn't it be nice to be proactive? Wouldn't it be nice to be in front of the problem before it gets too big? This is what strategy looks like, and I want to make sure that we work together to solve this problem ahead of time. This is how you get people to do it. And what I typically do is I take out a piece of paper and I write it all down. I'm like, these are all the things I did, because I want to be like Eminem in the 8 Mile, where you go to the battle and you already have all the weaknesses. You're like, yes, I am somebody who answers the phone at all hours of the night. Yes, I am the person who's done more than I should. Yes, I am, but here's the deal. Tell me something that you need from me, and I'm going to tell you how I help you. And that's what you do. You battle them and you say, hey, I want to do this proactively for you. I don't want us to be behind. I want you to get ahead. So why don't we start with an engagement? And let's start working proactively on advisory. And instead of leading into strategies in that moment, it's getting them to commit to working with you in this environment and then moving them into the next step, which is step 2 here in this case, is after you have the conversation, you move them to an assessment. Now, a tax savings assessment is where you identify the tax saving strategies that the client qualifies for. Now, you can do this manually by just being an expert like most of you are, or you could use software like Tax Maverick to help you do that. In Tax Maverick, we identify the strategies so that we can present to the client, but the only way that we can do that is if they pay us. And this is a big fault of ours. We've always done things for free, especially evaluations and research. But in this case, I'm advocating to you that you should charge for this. And on average, you should charge $24.97. Now, the reason that you should charge $24.97 is because we found that $24.97 gets away from tire kickers. It's large enough for serious people to say yes, but this also makes sure that you only talk to the right clients. Because if a client only owes $500 and you're going to tell him he's got to pay you $2,500, it's probably not a good deal. But if a client owes 30 or 50 or 100,000, it's more likely that they'll pay you for that. And it's a reasonable number to get people engaged. So once you get a tax savings assessment paid for, then you can build it. And once you build it, you identify strategies, and this is where the value lies. You first identified that the problem was they thought you already did it, and you overcame that. The second thing is, well, you got to deliver on the promise by charging them and delivering something, which you've never been able to do in the past. You've always just talked through strategy. You've always just showed them a return, which is nothing. But now you can actually deliver something of value, which means that you have just become more valuable. And that is the goal here. Instead of getting stuck thinking that you can't have these conversations, you lead with one, a serious conversation about what proactive looks like, and number two, a serious conversation about what delivery looks like. And this is the two key ingredients to start overcoming those difficult conversations and move them into advisory. You should be using these processes in your business right now. And if you need help executing this and you want to know exactly how to build assessments, how to have these difficult conversations, click on the link in my description and book a call with my team. Here at Tax Maverick, we help advisors just like you scale their tax advisory business with their existing client base. And if that's you, click on the link and I'll see you in our community.